Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor. We're coming up on E3. I can't wait. Starting to get some E3 questions, too. This is kind of cool. Anyway, thanks for joining us on SIFTD.net. You know that SIFTD does a lot more than just give you some pack loving. We've got the ability, Shane has the ability to sift through all your relevant, interesting news. You set what you think is interesting. They figure out what you will want to read. You can tweak it as you go. It's absolutely worth $2.50 a month to save you 250 hours of scouring the internet to find the stuff you care about. But you also get Pack Lovin' as part of that. We hope we're going to have some more original series. Worth it. Join SIFTD if you can. If you can't, I understand. Watch on YouTube for free. Okay, this week's first question from SIFTD, from Danny Endurance. Did Nintendo gain anything by announcing it was already working on the NX in March 2015? Was it a major mistake that killed interest in the Wii U even faster? Yeah, I'm sure that the announcement of a next-gen console will always drive demand for the current console lower. That for sure. The fact is that the Wii U was pretty much dead, after it was out for a year, because people just knew it was not that fun. The gamepad was difficult to use. I think a lot of people expected it to be a tablet, and it's not, and have multi-touch screen, and it doesn't. And I think a lot of people had trouble using it, couldn't figure out the utility. I think a lot of developers had trouble, not Nintendo developers, but third-party, integrating the gamepad into their gameplay. And I think that most consumers just did not see the point. But I really think that the Wii U died when pretty much every Western publisher stopped supporting it. So as far as I know, other than Just Dance and Skylanders, I don't think there's any Western publisher games on the Wii U. I don't think that anymore. I mean, Madden was on at launch, but I don't think you have any EA Sports games, no Call of Duties, no Take-Two titles at all, no Grand Theft Autos. That's really what kills the Wii U. Like, if you're buying a Wii U, you're buying it to play only Nintendo games and the occasional, Capcom game or something that, that maybe a Street Fighter here and there, but you're not getting anything else. And so, yes, I agree that announcing the NX hurt already lackluster Wii U sales. I think the bigger problem, the bigger pain for the Wii U is not knowing what the NX is. I think a lot of consumers assume the NX is a true next generation console, and it might be. But then again, it might be, some kind of box that accesses the internet and lets you play mobile games. I mean, we don't really know what it is. If the NX is going to be an all online console system where everything is downloaded and it's going to be Nintendo proprietary again, and Nintendo's 5 mobile games, then I think they really made a mistake. But we're going to find out. I think what's fascinating is, here we are, it's 14 months after they announced it, and we still don't know what it is. I mean, what takes so long to finalize the feature set and to communicate that to consumers? I don't get it. And we're going to get through E3 next month, and we're still not going to know what it is. So that's pretty bad. They're going to announce something this year. Good for them. But I would not be all that optimistic that this thing is going to actually hit the March 2017 launch date. Because if we don't know what it is by June, it's going to be awful hard to get third-party software support that makes sense. I understand that there are a handful of publishers who have dev kits and are working on games, not the Western guys, or certainly not in a big way, and frankly, the Western guys don't seem to have any interest in it. So I think this thing is going to have trouble succeeding unless it's really compelling, and the Western publishers decide they have to put all their games on. We'll see what happens. But yes, I agree, it was a major mistake to announce it that early with no details, and yes, I believe that hurt the Wii U even faster. Okay, our next question from SIFTD, from Airbus Jones. Considering the captive audience, why don't developers and publishers sell their loading screens as advertising? Using Call of Duty as an example, the collective time spent looking at them must be huge. Wow, what a good question. So there was a movement back in the early part of last decade, so 2000 4, maybe 3, about in-game advertising, and it was a hybrid between product placement in a game and using loading screens for advertising. And they were talking about maybe billboards as you're driving by that would advertise real products, or again, load screens. There was a company called Massive Entertainment that was based on that, and Microsoft bought them for $200 million and then shut it down a few years later. This has been something that the game publishers have talked about for a long time. I think that because you pay for a game experience, there's a natural aversion to being, subjected to commercials. And that makes sense. It's sort of like, going to the movies, you don't want an ad in the middle of the film, but even the movie theaters are running ads on the screens in front of the film. The interesting thing about your question is, let's think about games that we play that don't charge. So that's all mobile free to play. Why aren't there advertisements on those? And the answer is there are. And so what I think you're going to see is Activision, who recently bought King, is probably going to break with tradition on free-to-play games. And I think you're going to start seeing free-to-play games like Candy Crush have an ad on the load screen. And that's about an 8-second load when you play Candy Crush. Since I have it loaded on my phone, I'm going to do this for us right now. And we're going to time this, all right? So let's time it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, wow, 12. Uh-oh, my cellular data is turned off. 13, 14, it will load though. There we go. So it took about 15 seconds with the screen clear. That's long enough to run a pretty substantial ad. And oh, by the way, level 1700, just in case anybody cares. My phone hasn't caught up with the level that I'm on Candy Crush. But yeah, loading screen's a long time. And if you load Fallout Shelter, it's about the same. And honestly, you get nothing out of watching the load screen. I mean, there's nothing to it. So agreed. I think that, on free-to-play games, where in Zynga's case, all of them, King and Zynga, about 2 or 3% max spend money. So, even if you assume it's 20% of all your users eventually will spend money, in the King case, 80% of their 449 million users is something like 350 million people that they're not advertising to. That's a lot. So if you can advertise to 350 million people, there are literally billions of dollars at stake. So I don't think you'll see ads in console games. I do think you'll see ads in free-to-play games. I think it would be interesting to have ad-supported sessions in console games. So it'd be interesting, if Call of Duty came out with a map pack, you could, say to somebody, you don't need to buy the map pack if you want to sit through a 30-second ad every single time you play, Call of Duty. I think people would do that. So you might see a tweaking of the model, but that would be an opt-in. And if you play free-to-play games, a lot of games have watch to earn. In the upper left corner, it'll say, watch an ad, and we'll give you some coins to spend in the game. Again, I'm sure not as many of you who are watching Pachter Factor play free-to-play games the way I do, free-to-play mobile games. You do play free-to-play games like League of Legends. I don't think they advertise either, but they should. So the loading screen in League of Legends or Dota should absolutely have an ad. And all they have to do is track the history of the person playing. If you ever spent money in the game, they can just make sure you never see an ad. I mean, they can turn it off for anybody. And if you fit the profile, if you're like Shane and you're really wealthy and you play 4 hours a day League of Legends, then they probably won't advertise to you because they know you might spend money. But short of that, I think you're going to see it in free to play. I don't think you're going to see it in pay for play like Call of Duty. Okay, we have a question this week from Twitter at Fociz, I don't know how to pronounce it, F-O-C-I-Z. Do you think VR or augmented reality, once mature, will eventually replace display technology like monitors and TVs altogether? No, I do not. I think that we aren't going to be comfortable wearing a headset all the time. I think a headset is a different type of experience. And there's something to wearing a headset where it isolates you from everything else going on around you. And there's something communal about watching television. Think about watching a football game with your friends. Think about watching the Oscars with your friends. So no, I don't think that they'll replace them altogether ever. I do think virtual reality headsets are going to become part of every household eventually. And I think they're going to serve a function, for education, travel, lots of commercial applications that make sense, real estate, games, and it'll be part of the living room, and I think people will use it. Now the question, augmented reality, maybe. I could see televisions building augmented reality in. I could see, the points, the four corners of the TV having cameras that focus and project a hologram in front of the TV. And I think that could add something to the experience, and I think you might see that over time. The technology is probably close to there, but I don't know what the cost is to develop and create the content. So I think it's probably a dozen years away. It could come faster if I'm wrong about the cost to make the content. The cost for the display is not as great as the cost of somebody actually having to program, that whole three-dimensional view of a character from all angles in the home. That's hard to pull off. It's going to happen. And so I think that is the way televisions are going to go. And I think you get augmented reality as part of every household as well. And that might replace TV, but it'll be integrated with the screen. So the screen will be the backdrop. So we'll see, but good question. I don't think it's something imminent. We have a question from SIFTD, from Sorfear or Soarfear. I don't know, Sorfear. Would Nintendo be more successful as a private company, or does having to answer to shareholders keep them somewhat in line? Would it be better off with Nintendo of America taking the lead? Ooh. They behave like a private company, so I don't think having to answer to shareholders matters to them at all. I think that they do what they want to do, and I think they always have. I don't understand the Japanese stock market, but they're largely held by Japanese investors, and I think there's just kind of a code of honor in Japan. I think that they're allowed to do whatever they want to do as long as they're not losing money, and they're not. It's clear they're not maximizing their profit, but in fairness, they are at least trying mobile, and maybe they'll get lucky with that. But I think they would be more successful as a private company, because we would tolerate their weirdness and their inability to launch a good console more. We'd have lower expectations of them if there was an owner. They can't be a private company. They don't have enough cash to buy in all their stock, and frankly, I don't know who would be the owner if they did it. Nintendo of America taking the lead. The Nintendo of America guys are primarily a marketing organization and very good at it. So unfortunately, I don't think that that's Nintendo's weakness. I think Nintendo of America are great. So I want to say this properly. The Nintendo of America guys are exceptional marketers. They're great at their job. They're not exceptional creators of hardware. That's not their job. And they're not exceptional creators of software. That's not their job. So if you give Reggie and his team a good set of cards, they're among the best poker players in the world. When they have the best console and the best software, they're phenomenal. They're unbeatable. When they don't have the best console and the best software, they are still pretty impressive, because this is the old, they make lemonade out of lemons, but they've been getting lemons from Nintendo for a while. No Zelda till 2017 for the Wii U that came out in 2012. What the hell? Can you even think of a console that's ever launched where the number one product for that console comes out in the 5th year after launch? That's just crazy. I'm amazed that the Nintendo of America guys still have hair. I can think of one who doesn't, but Reggie still got hair. They haven't pulled it all out. God bless these guys. They are friendly, upbeat, positive, just great examples of what you want working for your company. They are exactly what you want, and they've been dealt lemon after lemon after lemon, probably for the last 5 years. And I got to say, I admire Reggie and his team more than Scott Moffitt, more than just about anybody. I think they just do a phenomenal job, and I like them, and I wish them well. But no, I don't think that they took the lead that Nintendo software would be any better. I don't think Nintendo hardware would be any better, and I don't think it would come out any more frequently. I think Japan, the guys who create that stuff are all Japanese, and they're not going to answer to Nintendo of America. If Nintendo of America had the opportunity to influence other aspects of the business, I think you would see much heavier licensing in Nintendo content. So you'd see more pajamas, more toys. And so Amiibo, I think the biggest reason for Amiibo success is it's a toy. So if Nintendo were to license their stuff and do a full line of toys, plush toys, pajamas, my God, movies, oh my God, the Nintendo of America guys would be in heaven. They would be minting money because the IP at Nintendo is every bit as valuable as the IP at Star Wars, at LucasArts. It's so valuable. I think it's arguably as valuable as the IP at Marvel. Marvel's got stories, so it's harder, necessarily to translate to TV and movies. But oh my God, their IP is worth so much. And yes, I think you let Reggie and Cindy Gordon and Scott Moffitt take over the licensing and marketing of that stuff. Oh my God, I think they would mint money. But apparently Nintendo corporate doesn't want to tarnish the brand. And so, yeah, I think the opportunities are kind of limitless for making this stuff worth even more. And frankly, I think if you let the Nintendo of America guys do it, there'd be like, remember Kingdom Hearts? There'd be like Nintendo characters, the way Disney characters were in Kingdom Hearts. You'd start seeing like Nintendo characters showing up in Grand Theft Auto. I'm just kidding, but you'd have to probably make it E-rated, but still, you could have, I'm sure that 2K and EA Sports would put Nintendo characters in their games. Like, you could play Madden football with a whole team of Nintendo characters. It'd be fun. There's a lot you could do with that, but no, I don't think that's something that's going to happen. So, hope that's responsive. If you're watching on YouTube, that's because I insist that we publish it a week later for free. Don't charge for what I do, so I don't want to create a paywall where people can't get some pack loving. So hope you're enjoying it on YouTube. If you have questions, submit them to me on Twitter at Michael Pachter, copy at SIFTD Games. If you're a SIFTD member, you can ask a question through the site. It's pretty obvious how to do it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.